I am James, and this is
Ben.
Bad Book Reviews by Resonant Tales. Okay, so today we're going to discuss Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, which was first published in 1937.
Yep.
This is a good jumping off point because the
I'd
last
like
one
to
we
jump
did.
off here, and I'd like you to go home.
Oh, that's offensive, but let's just carry on. Okay. So, in the last episode, we spoke about George Orwell and Burmese days. And do you remember?
Do you mean Myanmar 2 days?
In Myanmar 2 days, and
I did correct him a lot on that.
And we said that it wasn't his first book; it was his first novel.
Oh bloody hell! Here he goes again. We've already fucking. I'll keep pointing at the fucking egg chair. It's the egg chair.
So that was not his first book because he wrote autobiographical books. Oh, but this one. So is this? Should we just read the first podcast again? No, we're not. I just want to go over something because I want to explain just basically the difference between books.
No one cares.
So what type of book is this, Ben?
This book is about 5 pages long, and I read it in about 10 seconds. And it was,
So what would you call it? What would you call it?
In the way that I just never want to.
What would you call it? It begins with an N. With an N. What?
It's a novella.
He got it right. Got it fucking right. I tried to catch him out there fully.
No, I didn't. It's a novella.
It's a novella. It's not a novel. So the difference between a novella and a novel is just the word count, and it's a novel
with someone called Ella in it.
I think technically a novella
into this story.
A novella is below 30,000 words. It's around 30,000 words. John Steinbeck originally wrote this as a play. So he wanted to write a novel or novella that could be dissected into 3 parts, 3 acts. So he did that. In the book, it's down as parts. So there's part 1, 2, and 3. Each part is composed of 2 chapters. And it's one of the best books ever written, in my opinion. It's a fantastic book. And Ben is now going to butcher it, as you'll see that he often does.
I shouldn't have taken a drink then when that made me very angry. It just caught in my esophagus.
So Of Mice and Men, like I say, it's written in the 1930s in America. And it's based in a place called Soledad, which is in California. So Soledad is a Spanish term meaning... What does Soledad mean?
It's like Trinidad and Tobago, but it's Soledad, just where there's only one of them. Because
Soledad means...
It's solitary dad.
Soledad means solitude in Spanish. And that is actually very telling because the book is all about loneliness. People. It's all about loneliness. Oh. That's basically the main overarching theme.
Lonely Mexicans, I think.
The overarching theme of the book is solitude.
Yeah.
Loneliness.
Lonely Mexicans, yeah.
And it basically follows the journey of 2 characters. George and Lenny. So George, it's described at the beginning of the book.
The lonely Spanish people.
George, it's described as at the beginning of the book, is like quite a short, sort of wiry, like kind of like ripped character. He's little, he's an ectomorph, but he's small and he's fast. He's quick. That's sort of talked about quite a bit.
That sounds like a xenomorph to me, not an ectomorph.
You've got Lenny, who is kind of the complete opposite of this. He's a massive guy. He's just described as huge with big sloping shoulders, and he'd be more of a mesomorph. I think that's probably the best way of describing mesomorph.
Morbidly obese,
but hench, and he's insanely strong. So that's like one of the big...
Unnaturally for a human.
Unnaturally for a human. He's very strong. Ben wants to say something that's quite offensive.
This is where the twist comes in. This is where the twist... Chapter 1, and I didn't only read Chapter 1, as much as you like to look at the bookmark that's only up to the end of Chapter 1 and tell me that I only read Chapter 1. I know full well that there was a big plot twist involving Lenny, a dog, and the thing like the mouse, the pond at the start that they were drinking out of. There were many clues there. So when we get to the end of the story and we talk about that part, I can kind of be like, I can point back to that first chapter and those little things that I noticed that made me realise that what the big twist was.
So we'll talk about the meaning of Mice and Men.
Nice alliteration
so
there.
basically, it's from a Scottish poet. He wrote a poem of his name escapes me, unfortunately. You would be able to research
Robert Steinbeck.
this quite easily. No, that so John Steinbeck is the guy who wrote this. But John Steinbeck originally called the book.
Scottish brother.
He called the book
Who had a Scottish widow.
A Thing That Happened.
Solitude.
A Thing That Happened was what he originally titled the novella. Because it was basically
Something happened.
it was just something that happened that no one had any control over. Yeah. Like it just happened, and it's unfortunate, but it just happened.
Over everything, apart from
Whereas
yourself. It's what Stoicism teaches.
he changed it after reading this poem by a Scottish poet, and the line in the book of the poem is something like, "The best plans of mice and men basically don't matter because fate intervenes." Someone can find the actual quote there because
it's
I
just
fully
he's written a poem about Stoicism.
Anyway, so it's a book about fate, kind of like fatalism, really, and it's about these two characters that are diametrically opposed. You've got this like really fast, skinny, wiry, small character who's quite quick-witted, quite smart, and then you've got Lenny.
Then you got fat next to him.
So Lenny, I wouldn't call him that.
He's just a thonker. He just thonks things.
In a modern, like politically correct
and he just thonks
definition, he's probably got severe autism.
Got to get them thonkins up.
He's got severe autism and like severe learning difficulties.
Well, autism, POW.
So
back to that.
He basically relies on George, and this goes back to the theme.
Very faithful to George, isn't he?
He's very faithful to George.
Always following him, never leaves his side. Like gets told off by him. Bad Lenny. Lenny.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
All like that. Yeah, and the plot twist.
So Ben's going to throw in some horrible plot twist that he's just contrived, just made up. But it's about these two characters, and they live in basically California during the Great Depression. So that's important because they're just basically roaming from town to town.
Is that where you went there and spoke to them?
No, that's not what happened, Ben. But anyway, they were roaming from town to town, just picking up work where they could. And Lenny was known for his work ethic, and basically he's just super strong, and he could just complete any task to like this superhuman level. So he could do the work of like 3 men.
Work ethic and me tooing.
Like, and then you had George sort of just guiding him. It's basically his minder,
making him do the me toos.
He's minding him, and then they've got this. So without spoiling it too much, they've got this plan. Of basically, they've got this dream, and they keep reiterating the dream over and over of getting a ranch somewhere, getting a piece of land, and then living off the land.
Like Lenny can run around to his heart's content.
It's basically that's not far off.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream.
But Lenny's is like the sweetest character. He's the epitome of a gentle giant.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he's massive and he's strong.
Of course he is. Like, he's gonna be.
And what I really love,
considering what he actually is,
what I love about the book is it builds up all this tension because you've got these two characters in a kind of precarious position because they're going into this ranch and they're helping out with the ranch, and we get introduced to all these different characters, and they all kind of pose these threat levels, and you're like, something is going to kick off here, and that's why it's got this like proper play.
Some of them have got like 1 skull over them. Some of them have got 2 skulls over them.
Basically,
yeah. When you when you play an RPG and like you see an enemy with a red name, you're like, I ain't go fucking near that. And that's what they were seeing.
100%. I'm not going to argue with that.
Threat levels.
And I'm not going to argue with a lot of the things.
They needed to grind.
The
they were there. They were just killing rats for like years. There was killing rats, leveling up. So
it's not RuneScape. Ben is just discussing RuneScape there. It's not RuneScape.
World of Warcraft.
Okay, World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Right. So basically,
get with the times.
These two guys, it's quite rare as well at the time. You get like these drifters that they drift from during the Great Depression. They go from ranch to ranch, just doing a bit of work and then getting enough money and then just moving on straight away.
What type of powers did the drifters have?
But Lenny, big old beautiful Lenny. Oh,
he was over-leveled for the fucking area, wasn't he? Massively
and little George, they've found this companionship together. So they basically they move along.
Lenny's carrying George. He's carrying George because George knows that Lenny's like massively over-leveled for the area. He's going to smash out everything.
There's something to that.
He's tagging with him and he's like, oh, oh, I've done all of this, and it's like, no.
You know what? There is actually something to that. Ben, so Ben, you're making a good point there because Lenny, he is actually a much better worker just because he's just so strong. So they're like, you know, stacking bales of hay or whatever they're doing. They're doing like extreme manual labor basically, and Lenny is obviously much better adapted to this just because he's just hench.
Yeah,
he's
they're on Clarkson's farm actually.
He's hench, and he can just. He can work like a beast because he's so single-minded. He doesn't even think about it. He's just like work, and he loves being told that he's a good worker as well, and that's quite sweet.
Yeah, like a good boy.
Then
You're a good boy, Lenny.
George can't work to his degree, but he keeps Lenny in line, and George is basically just like a parent to him. He owes this. He doesn't owe this woman, but he promised Lenny's auntie that he'd look after him. And so that's what happens. He's basically his minder. They go to this place, Soledad, and they work on this ranch. And then they encounter these characters. And so let's just go through the characters now, Ben. So,
mate, you got Curly, you got Curly, sexy wife.
Let's just stop at Curly. So Curly is basically the foreman's son, the landowner's son. Is called Curly, and he
wears big high-heeled boots, doesn't he?
He does
because he's tiny.
He's got Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah.
And he's like a featherweight or a lightweight boxer, like semi-professional boxer, and he's got this
red cowboy boots.
Short man syndrome.
Better.
Short man syndrome, and he hates being belittled, but more than anything, he's like really wary and untrusting and controlling of his wife, who he doesn't really give any attention to. He goes around the ranch just like chatting up all the men, essentially flirting with them.
Well, she was a honeypot, wasn't she? She is
indeed a honeypot.
Literally just a sentient honeypot.
That's exactly what she was.
Yep.
So you've got this tension where he's like every new person that
Lenny
comes into the ranch.
His finger in and going.
Any new person that comes into the ranch, he's very suspicious of, and he's like, and he really likes to sort of like fight people that are bigger than him because it gives him like a sense of pride. And so he's got Lenny, who's the sweetest person in the world, that's the first thing you notice. And George picks up on this straight away. He's just like, don't cause any trouble with this Curly guy. This Curly guy and his wife are trouble. She's gonna like talk to you. He's gonna get jealous, and he's gonna want to fight you. I'm gonna stay out. I'm gonna try and stay out of his crosshairs. I'm not gonna get involved. Lenny, you need to do the same thing. Lenny's like, it's okay, George.
And he's like, okay, but he clearly just heard, go and dip your finger in the honey.
And by that, which we're going to call a metaphor, is stroking her hair, which happens later on. Slight spoiler
Dipping the
there.
Finger.
Slight spoiler there. But basically, yeah, so you've got this tension, and then you've got Curly, you've got Crooks. Remember Crooks?
Oh, yeah, Crooks the cat. Yep.
So no, he's not a cat. So I think he's
a crook.
He's described as like a buckhand or something. He's basically
Jeremy
a stable hand, maybe. I don't know. He's in charge of the horses. He's a black gentleman, and he basically gets involved in he gets embroiled in the George Lenny situation and this whole dream they have. It all centers around this dream of owning some land, of getting away from this drifter lifestyle that they have.
And he wants them to own him, right?
No, that's not true. It's not remotely true.
Is that not why?
That's not what happened, Ben.
Is that not what happened?
No, Ben. That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Wasn't it?
It was back in that time.
So I think they would. I think they would have just said, "Okay, fine, we'll have you."
In a very cynical, pessimistic world, that might.
I think that's like George was like, you know what? We've got ourselves a free ranch,
and then you've got Candy. So Candy is basically an old guy that's worked at this ranch for years.
Yeah, Candy, and he crushes it, doesn't he?
He crushed his hand.
So it's Candy Crush.
Crushed his hand. He now only has one hand, so he's this like
saga.
He's this
geriatric. I call it the Candy Crush saga.
He's this old guy who's basically only got one usable hand.
He's Jeremy Beadle. We've got two Jeremy Beadles.
He can't do much.
We've got Buckhand, and we've got
take my strong hand. Take my strong hand.
Take my strong hand. He stirs the potatoes with it. He stirs honey pot with it. Comes out with potatoes and honey.
Although
Curly's like, mate, that's fucking.
To be honest with you, in Scary Movie 2, I think he's just got he actually has got a little Jeremy Beadle hand, whereas Candy has no hand. He's got a stump. So he's a one-handed guy.
Did he used to be called Handy? But then he got his arm chopped off, and I've got Candy now.
That could very well add up there, 100%.
I think so.
But I don't think that's what happened. But anyway, let's move on. He's got a nub. He's got a nub. He's also got one hand. And he's
thick and
limited.
girthy nub.
He's limited for the amount of
like
work that he can do. I'm just going to grab a sip of wine here because Ben's already stressing me out.
Only like the nub. And who wouldn't?
So Candy Handy.
Girth on the fucking wrist.
Candy the Handy.
Length as well, all the way up to the elbow. She can take it.
Candy the Handy is basically you can't do very much in the ranch. You can just sweep up.
Curly had a duck's penis
because of what happened. He got some compo, didn't he, old Candy?
Yeah,
he got some compensation for the injury that he sustained while he was on the ranch, losing his hand. Pretty traumatic thing to happen. So he got a stipend, got a decent amount of money, and he's just kept it squirreled away. But he's always got this worry in his mind that like, I'm going to get too old.
That his hand's going to come back because his hand's looking for revenge now. It's out there crawling around like the thing.
That's not what Candy the Handy's worried about.
He knows that the camera's just gone off. I think that was Handy. I think Handy's actually out. The hand's outside. And like it blurs the camera whenever Handy's near. It's like he's got distortion field around him. Handy.
As long as it's still rolling, that's all that matters. But anyway, Candy the Handy.
And it's rocking.
Candy the Handy, he's like worried. He's like, I'm advancing in years now. What happens when I can't
jacking yourself off there, voice?
What I can't do when I can't jack myself off anymore? What will happen to me? I'll just have all this tension.
But you got to swap sometimes.
But he can't.
If you're on a fucking 3-hour-long coke wank, you got to swap arms.
He can't do the old stranger. He can't sit on his hand because it's not there. But anyway, he's worried that what's going to happen when.
I mean, you could sit on it.
What's going to happen? When I can't do the little rubbish jobs that I'm already doing at the moment, they're just going to be like, all right, soz Candy, you're going to have to leave. Anyway.
Candy.
So he's got this in the back of his mind, and then he hears about the dream. He hears about these two guys coming in with this dream of owning some land.
Of owning a slave, and he's like, mate,
owning some land.
Want to own a slave.
We'll get back to old crooks later on. And we've got Slim as well.
Oh, yeah.
Slim
Shady.
Slim Shady, he's got the best job in the ranch where he's like, I don't know.
He gets to stir honey pot.
The actual like jobs kind of go over my head a little bit. They're hard for me to sort of conceptualize. But essentially, this is a guy
one of them's horses, one of them's cows,
from my understanding,
one of them's corn.
From my understanding, this guy can control a load of horses, and that's He's
a horse whisperer.
He's a horse whisperer. He probably is.
Yeah.
But he's a very respected individual.
An equestrian.
Equestrian. He's an equestrian. And he garners a lot of respect in this Soledad community.
And he garniers Curly's hair.
And you know what? He really respects the relationship between George and Lenny, because he's just like, you don't often see like these two guys having like this nice bromance. And it's kind of sweet, and he's like, he really like appreciates the way that George cares for Lenny, and he looks out for him. And then,
basically, he wants to get into the old fucking the triangle with him.
He's like
it's more of a circle.
He's the old statesman,
Candy, and all the rest of it.
He's the old statesman. He's a character that everyone respects, and he's the only one that really stands up to Curly, who's just a fucking little arsehole. He's just constantly jealous.
Cowboy boots.
Dwarf would be the term.
You just kick him off a cliff. Boom! And off he spins.
But anyway,
off the cliff. Him and Warwick Davis.
We're going to take a short digression here because this book transcends culture. Ben knows nothing about culture. He hates culture.
I am culture.
Which is why he's destroying this book, which is a beautiful book. And if you are looking to learn anything,
I've got the book over there.
Ignore
and
whatever
I've got it.
Ben
I bought
says.
a £10 version of it,
But
which was
let's just
for the amount of
pause there.
fucking pages.
Let's just pause there to
very expensive.
Let's just pause there to have a little snippet.
It's old. It's shit.
We're a lot better.
So, what you're going to hear is Lost. Classic Lost.
Best show ever.
Funny thing is, us telling you about the pacemaker wasn't what kept you in line. It was when I threatened her.
So this is Ben in Lost.
You work so hard to make her think you don't care, that you don't need.
It's an emotional scene. But now listen to this.
Guy goes nuts if he ain't got nobody. It don't make no difference who the guy is, as long as he's with you. I tell you, a guy gets too lonely and he gets sick. How are you talking about? It's from Of Mice and Men.
From Mice and Men.
Don't you read?
Don't you read? So that's a shit.
Oh, now he's putting on his porn music.
So that's a snippet from Lost, and the reason why that's significant, it's not significant, but it's quite funny, is that the track in that, so from that scene, when you go on the Lost soundtrack, season 4, it's called Of Mice and Ben, and I quite like that because this is Ben. It's all about Ben.
It's all about Ben.
It's all about Ben. But what Ben, the character in Lost, is alluding to there is he's not alluding to it. He's quoting Crooks's line, which really encapsulates the main theme of Mice and Men, which is the loneliness aspect. Like you can have money, you can have whatever you want, you can have success, but if you haven't got anyone to share it with, it's all meaningless. And Crooks,
bollocks,
being a black man in the time, he's kind of shunned by everyone else. And even though he's got like quite a nice little living arrangement, he's got loads of books, he's got this nice little setup. That was him expressing his like deep loneliness, and that's what it's all about. This whole book is about loneliness and about how companionship is so important.
It's basically I Am Legend, but just without the vampires.
By the way, we should do I Am Legend because I Am Legend is a great book.
I've actually read that book.
Have you read that book?
I have read it. I cannot remember it. I'll have to reread it.
It's
a short book, isn't it?
It's a short book. It's nothing like the film, which absolutely bastardizes it. Just ruins everything about it.
I don't think I've seen the film, you know.
Good, don't ever watch it.
I have heard bad things.
Anyway, this is a digression, but we'll get back onto Of Mice and Men. So basically, there's...
You already spoke about fucking George Orwell for 20 minutes.
It builds up this tension. So you've got these two characters. You've got Paul. You've got George, who's looking out for Lenny. You've got Lenny, he's like you could not find a character who elicits more compassion because he hasn't got a bad bone in his body. He's just a simple guy.
Every now and then, George just pop in.
He's just a simple guy. He's not got a lot going on in his brain. He's hench. He's super strong.
It's basically you.
He's just like me. No thought in his brain.
Very
couple of brain cells just banging against each other.
Lumbering around.
I can lift so many hay bales.
Yeah, that's what he does. He just goes around fucking throwing hay bales around. And what the fuck are you doing?
But
it's not the 1980s. It's not the
1990s
anymore.
But he's so lovely.
Fucking book was set.
He's a lovely guy. And George is looking out for him. And so, this is where we get to the dark side of Lenny, which isn't really a dark side. It's just basically a flaw that he has.
Yeah, he likes to do a bit of rapes.
He's got fixation on
crushing.
So Ben is quoting of
crushing
the Grapes of Wrath because before this I mentioned
the Grapes of Wrath.
John Steinbeck. Well, you just talk about grapes.
No, it's about rape. I said he likes doing rapes and then crushing.
Okay, so Ben
and crushing. But Grapes of Wrath, it's about angry grapes.
It is about angry grapes. But John just pause on John Steinbeck, one of the greatest American authors of all time. If you haven't read Of Mice and Men, please read it.
It makes
so
sense
good.
that he's the greatest American, or one of the greatest American authors, because it's American and it's shit. So no one. If this is the best that they can do,
I do not endorse that statement. There are many good American authors, and John Steinbeck is up there with the greatest. He is fantastic.
Yeah, which says a lot, really.
Anyhow, so. Where do we get on to? We got on to the fact that
Lenny's got a dark side.
Lenny's got a dark side. Thank you for that. You did actually get us on track then.
Yeah,
Lenny's got this dark side, and the weird dark side is that he's got this kind of fixation with soft things. He likes to stroke soft things.
Flaccid penises.
Like right at the start, he's got this mouse. He's got a dead mouse, and he's just like petting the dead mouse. And George is like, "What have you got?"
Plot twist as well.
What have you got there? And he's like, "Nothing. Nothing."
Hiding it, isn't he? And then he's like, ooh, and then he eventually hands it over.
over.
I do this with my dog Potato. I know when he's got something, and I'm like, drop it.
That's exactly what it's like.
Drop it.
That's
how the plot twist happens, really, isn't it?
I don't know what your plot twist is.
It's a dog and Lenny. Like when you find out.
So he really wants a little. He wants a dog. He likes little soft things that you can stroke.
That you can crush.
And he doesn't mean to crush them.
No.
He just loves them so much.
Go onto Google and type in crush fetish, and you will find
he's not got a crush fetish. Ben, stop being so mean about Lenny.
Crushing little animals to death.
It's
genuinely is a sexual thing that people get off on.
It could be, but
Lenny doesn't have. There are some people that just like to see like women in big boots stomping on things like little.
So you're talking about something completely different. Then that's sounds like sadomasochism.
Little plastic mice and little plastic men. not real things, but other people do.
Anyhow, let's get back to his dark side. So Lenny, he loves just stroking soft things. That's his thing. He's just like, oh, just little soft things. I like stroking them. And
who doesn't?
Indeed,
it's the only way I can start getting off. To be honest,
it's true. That's fair. That's fair. But anyway, he likes stroking soft, furry things.
Yeah,
and
he's a furry.
It's his thing.
But the first furry.
It's not limited to like animals or toys and stuff like that. It's anything soft. So this is where the problem arises. Women's hair. Kind of like stroking women's hair.
Isn't men's hair soft back in that time?
No, I think it's quite wiry and like, hardened by the sun, and they don't really take care of it. But anyway, so this is a big issue.
Not like the manly men today with their nice soft hair.
My hair is very soft. Lenny would actually love to stroke my hair, I can imagine.
And then just fucking crush his skull.
And then just crush my skull beyond recognition. 100%, that's what he would do.
He'd just pop your brain out.
And anyway, so it's an issue that they commonly encounter is that
I know it'd be hard at that point, rigor mortis.
It's an issue that they commonly encounter.
Top floor.
It's an issue they commonly encounter where Lenny is constantly stroking soft things. He's stroking women's hair, and then he gets a bit too handsy. He doesn't mean to. He's not that way inclined, but he likes stroking hair, and it gets him in trouble, as you can imagine. Women are like, "Oh, you're trying to rape me."
This was before the Me Too movement, though. So no one really gave a shit, to be honest.
They did, though. They still did.
In the book, they did. In real life, no.
Now you get cancelled. Back then, you get chased with pitchforks, and that's essentially what happened with old Lenny.
That's been cancelled in real life. It's a cancellation act.
Cancellation of your life.
It means something, but then as soon as you go to another town, no one knows because there was no social media. So
that's
you
true.
Literally
good
just go to another town and be like, it's fine now, which is what they did.
Very good point. That's what they kept doing.
Lenny kept on going around and just fucking like crushing puppies, crushing women's heads after fucking stroking them, tearing the clothes off, and then George would be like, for fuck's sake, next town. They go to the next town. He'd be like, Lenny, what have I told you? And then Lenny'd be like, and I don't remember. And then George would be like, for fuck's sake, I've told you like 50 fucking times.
This is really good. I really like this because it's actually...
Don't do it again, okay? What is it, Lenny? Don't do it again. Good. Well, I'm going to check with you in 5 minutes and see if you still remember it. And then they'll go off and do shit.
Have you got all this from like from the 10 pages that you've read?
I told you, the first chapter is all you need to read of that book for you to know exactly what's going to happen.
Not true, guys.
And then...
Not true.
And but then they had like the little dinner and shit like that, and then Lenny fucked up because he caught like 5 dead mice or something and kept fucking,
You've gone off track there. You've gone off track there.
He caught more than one fucking mouse and killed it. And like
George
had to keep.
No, you were on it then.
So George took the first dead mouse off him in the first chapter, near the start.
He did.
And then a little bit later on, Lenny goes off into the bushes and he comes back out and he's got another mouse.
It's the same mouse.
Oh, because George fucking yeeted it over the thing, didn't he?
He yeeted it forward.
He got his dead mouse back anyway. So whatever. There was. The mouse thing happened twice in the first chapter.
Right, let me interject there for a second.
But then at the end of the chapter, after like George had a go at him about something, Lenny was curled up by the campfire, tail tucked between his legs, and he repeated to George, "I must not do a Me Too in this next town."
Essentially,
and George was like, "Good."
That's essentially what happened, yeah. So he's inadvertently doing a lot of Me Too's just because he likes stroking soft things.
Do you reckon we could get away with it now if we just say call ourselves Lenny and just go?
But they've got a lot more classifications for like mental illnesses and mental, deficiencies.
What's a mental illness where you just find ladies sexy and you want to stroke their
hair? Well, I think in the case of Lenny, it's just extreme autism. And learning difficulties. But anyway, so they're in Soledad. This is after he's had the mouse and he just crushes everything. He just loves it so much that he just crushes it. And he's basically Slim.
Candy Crush Saga. He crushed fucking Candy's hands.
So all right, we're gonna jump onto the dog plot point. The dog plot point, which is.
Looking forward to this.
Oh, please don't say that.
I've been looking forward
please
to
don't
this.
say that. Ben's
I've
gonna
been
ruin
looking
this.
forward to this.
All right, so Candy. Oh, good old Candy Handy.
Candy Crush.
One handy Candy. He's got a dog who's basically so old, and this also ties back to this companionship point, the loneliness point. He's got this dog that's basically like infirm. It's like blind, and it smells, and it can barely walk. And like, there's all these like really just just people in the camp that've got no empathy that are like, oh, your dog stinks, mate. Can I just kill it? That's what they're like. They're literally like, your dog's stinking up the place. Can I just murder your dog, please?
It's basically where Dignitas started. Is what I would
you know
say.
what? You know what? This book has been actually criticised for promoting euthanasia, so that's not actually a bad shout. But Ben will come out every now and then, like you know that saying of a broken clock is right twice. That's Ben in these discussions.
I'm
so
right. I've been
every
right
now and then.
Every single time I've spoken this episode and the last one.
So that's not true.
I think the broken clock is you, but you're a broken clock that somehow stays ahead of wherever it's going to be right, and then when it's supposed to be right, you fucking moved your hands again, and then you swip them back, swip them forward. So you're a broken clock, but you're just never right.
Right. Okay. So
the hands coming back. Candy's handy. It just went blurry.
Candy's handy. It did get blurry. So Candy's got this dog. It's like geriatric dog, and he's dying, and everyone's just like, kill the dog, kill the dog. And then this one guy within the community is just like, I'll kill him for you.
Protective WKD.
He's like,
protects me from hands.
He's like, I'll kill it. Come on, just let me put your dog down. And Candy is like, oh no, but he's fine. He's fine. He's probably not fine. If this were
Dignitas.
even now, you would probably be euthanizing the dog.
Pop him to the vets and say, mate, deal with this, right? Do you want the body back? No, just burn it.
But anyway, this guy's like, oh, come on, I'll make it nice. I'll just shoot him. He won't even know what's happened. So basically, this guy takes Candy the Handy's dog, takes him outside, shoots him with his fucking Luger. And then basically afterwards, a Luger gun.
What's a Luger gun?
A Luger's like a German gun with a pistol. The Americans loved it. They were like stealing them in World War II. It was like a big thing to get a Luger. Anyway. It's a pistol.
They're like Nazi weaponry, is what we're saying.
Essentially, yeah. Nazi weaponry, exactly. So he's...
Dignitas, Nazis.
He's got this Luger.
Yeah,
he goes out, he shoots Candy's poor dog.
People.
Shoots his dog. And then Candy is kind of regretful then that he wasn't the one to shoot the dog, because he's like, it's my dog.
He really wanted to shoot it, didn't he? He was just like, mate, I was saving that for a rainy fucking day. I
don't think that's the point.
I wanted to pop that dog on a rainy day when I was bored.
No.
Just do something.
Candy loved the dog.
He wanted to line up his fucking jaws and just smash straight down to the dog's head.
I think quite the opposite. Candy loved the dog, and he didn't want to let the dog go. Goes back to the whole theme: companionship, loneliness. He loved the dog. He loved having someone with him.
He loved the thought of killing it more, which is why he kept it for so long.
No, that's not true.
He liked the suffering. He liked to see it suffer, which is why he kept it alive.
No, that's not true at all.
Because he was really bitter about his hand that Lenny had crushed off earlier.
Lenny didn't crush the hand. So Ben is like conflating plot points there.
But then the hand came back, but it was too scared to go near Lenny.
Like the Thing.
But he wanted to get revenge on Candy. Because he was like, mate, you let me touch your dick.
What do you call it? From the Addams Family.
Yeah, I think that's what I said earlier.
Is it? I'm sorry. I apologise. I missed that very important salient point that you made there, Ben. I'm very sorry.
The hand was pissed off because it was like, it's off Candy's body now, and the hand was like, I had to touch your dick regularly. So the hand was coming back for revenge because Candy's fucking crippled old fucking burnt matchstick of a penis. The grapes of wrath is what he called them actually, because he instead of having a ball bag, he had essentially a bundle of grapes. There must have been about 20 balls in there, and they were very angry.
Right, let's get back to the point. So Candy the Handy.
What's the point?
So someone in the camp in the ranch, murders his dog. You can't murder an animal apparently. That's bad. Kills his dog, euthanizes his dog.
Shocking.
And
I would never do that.
I know. And he's regretful then, Candy is, because he's like, I should have been the one that killed him. He's my dog. Which I don't want to find. Whoever kills a dog, it doesn't really matter. Like, you get the vet to do it, don't you? Who cares? But in that time, I should have been the one to do it. And he's regretful about that.
Fling him over a rainbow.
Anyway, this is kind of like mirrored later on in the story. Which, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, the dog.
Spoiler
the dog.
alert.
The bit that from chapter 1, you know what's coming.
So basically, Candy wishes he put his dog down. He was the one that put the dog down. And that's kind of what happens later on, is that George gets a chance. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Fast forward like 2 minutes, and then we can keep talking about the book. And then
but it's going to be about 10 minutes, because like he's going to keep derailing the point. I keep pointing over there. He's going to keep derailing the point.
He's not wrong. I'm not the most concise of humans. But anyhow,
Verbosity.
Yeah, but I am verbose. And let's carry on. So, George wishes that he'd be the one to put down his friend, is essentially the point, is that, and he is. So he steals the Luger.
George wants to kill Lenny.
He does, because if he doesn't kill him, Curly's going to kill him. So this is the end of the story we're talking about now.
The midget in cowboy boots is going to kill the level 100 paladin. He's going on smiting everyone.
Because he's got a fucking gun. I'm not being funny.
Curly's like a fucking level 3 kobold.
So I've worked...
living in the Goldshire mines.
I've worked security before, and still do.
I work security.
But I've worked the doors, and I was working in this particularly rough place once, and someone said to me, they said, I said, "Oh, you can't come in," or whatever it was. Yeah. And then he's like,
arsehole. He was getting bummed, basically.
I'm gonna fucking come in, and I was like, "You can't come in." And then his mate turned around and he went, "Look at his arms, mate. He'll do you." About me. That's literally what he said. And then the guy was just like, "What arm's gonna do against a gun?" And then he threatened to go in his car and grab a gun and shoot me.
Did you fucking take him down?
So I was just like, okay, and I just sucked him off there and then.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
but
that is the point that we were just making, is that what is Lenny?
It's been a
with
good
all
2
his
minutes.
power? He's a level 1000 paladin.
You can't be a level 1000 in World of Warcraft. Sorry, you've got that wrong.
Anyhow, so
oh my god, syntactical errors, fucking World of Warcraft errors.
Curly's got a gun. Curly's got a gun. Run from the gun.
He's just taking it all off. Fuck, you need to fast forward. If you just tuned in at 2 minutes past,
I'm not ruining anything. That's the end of the book. But we're gonna go back to
fast forward to the very end.
Back to the plot points.
And then never watch it again.
You've got old Lenny's like furry fixation. Loves to like
does he go to that thing at your hotel?
Confuzzled.
So Voicey runs Confuzzled.
I do. I run an event called Confuzzled.
It's like the biggest furry event
fucking furries
in the world, and he has to run it.
Bane in my existence. I hate furry. I'm sorry. If you're a furry watching this
you are
right
literally
now,
the king of them.
Turn off. No one likes you.
He's the king of them.
You are the scourge of humankind.
This is bullshit. You've been to every single Confuzzle that's ever happened.
I have been to them technically. He's not wrong there. I have attended them.
Yeah, because you've led them.
As
you've organised them.
A disapproving bystander.
No, very much approving and engaging. He gets in the pool with a giant inflatable and starts getting sucked off by him.
There's no like group, no society in life that I've got any kind of prejudice towards.
What about Russians?
No, Russians are fine, whatever. It's not the Russians.
It's about billionaires. You're supposed to hate billionaires now.
Don't hate any of these people. But furries have a special chamber of hatred in my heart.
Odour. They've got a special odour, haven't they?
It's not a special odour. It's a fucking dangerous odour. That will knock out most people.
It gets him,
anyway,
gets him dangerously hard. It's basically Viagra to him.
Lenny has got a...
As soon as Confuzzle turns up, he's just erect constantly.
I need more wine. Look what he's doing to me.
You can't help it, can you?
Look what he's doing to me.
As soon as you see Confuzzle come, you're like, oh my god, I cannot wait, it's Confuzzled. And then you were there every single day protecting the Confuzzle people.
Right, I think we've gone off the rails here, Ben.
So
let's bring it back on. Let's bring it back on track. But just before we do... If you're a furry, switch off now. You're not welcome here. This is our
sponsor, WKD.
You're not welcome here. You're not welcome here. I'm going to blur that out now, you fucker, because of YouTube. Anyhow, so Lenny is basically, he's got this furry fixation, nothing to do with the furries, which are the scourge of society. Please turn off now. I do not want your viewership. He likes stroking things, and then it gets to a point where basically, so all right, we'll rewind a bit. So old Curly is getting jealous about his wife again because she's going around being a bit of a harlot. She's like talking to all the guys on the ranch.
I mean, she's a honeypot.
She's a honeypot.
I don't get is he Winnie the Pooh? Is he just getting fucking mad because everyone wants to have a fucking dip in his honeypot? Christopher Robin there, Eeyore, that owl one.
I believe so.
A bunny rabbit. There's an angry bunny rabbit.
Anyhow,
no, that was the Wizard of Oz, wasn't it?
Anyhow, so Curly's wife.
I don't watch them.
Early to rise. Curly
to rise as well. He has got his penis.
The curly bird gets the worm.
His penis is a turkey Twizzler.
Yeah, so he's getting all jealous of people of his. It's just his wife going around basically talking to everyone in the ranch, and he's like, "Stay in the house, stay in the house," yeah. And basically, he comes back, and he's like, he starts on Slim, which is insane because Slim is a bad man.
Yeah.
You don't start on Slim.
No one fucking starts on Slim, dude.
And then Slim Shady is like, fuck you, Curly.
He stands up.
Shut the fuck up. I don't like what you're
The real
implying.
Slim
I will
Shady stands
bitch
the
slap
fuck
you
up.
in front of everyone here.
Yep.
And then Curly's like, oh, I didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah,
I didn't
Curly
mean
fucking
anything by
pisses
it.
his little fucking
He does
dwarfy
piss his
pants,
little
doesn't
pants.
he?
But when this is all happening, old Lenny is laughing. I don't know why he's laughing. I can't remember that.
Because he finds it fucking hilarious.
He's chuckling.
He's
chuckling.
like laughing at these two
And
like
then-
level 3 fucking losers like trying to square up to him.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
level 10 and a level 3.
Level 10, level 3.
But
Kurt,
fucking, fucking
he's not got that kind of self-awareness. He's not got that kind of self-awareness. It's the opposite of what he's got. He's this like insanely powerful thing that doesn't know he's powerful. But anyhow, Curly is like, what the fuck are you laughing at?
I
The
feel a
fuck are
bit
you
like that.
laughing at? Oi, big guy, what are you laughing at? So he's like, I'm gonna batter you. So he just goes up, little fucking Curly, against Lenny, who's a fucking behemoth. Behemoth.
Yeah, is it Behemoth or Behemoth?
It depends who you
The
ask.
song, do you remember the band? Behemoth.
Yeah,
Or Behemoth.
yeah, I do remember.
Behemoth.
Anyhow, he's like looking at him, going, "What are you laughing at then?" And he's like, "I'm not laughing at anything." And then he basically just starts punching old Lenny in the face, which is like just like punching like.
It's like fucking like mosquitoes just bouncing off you, isn't it?
It kind of is, but he's still his skin's not impervious to punches, so he's getting like a black eye and stuff. And he's just like, "I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble." And then
He was leveling
and
up
then everyone's shouting
his armor.
And then I think it's George or everyone else is like,
just let things hit you. Heavy armor goes up.
people just start shouting, "Fight back!
No, Skyrim,
Fight back, Lenny! Fight back!
He was
back!"
talking about Rune
And then he's
earlier,
like,
so I'm allowed
and he's
to.
like, I don't know what to do. So he just grabs Curly's hand, and he's got these vice-like
crushes
hands.
his hand off and turns him into Candy
Crushes
too.
his hand.
Candy Crush Saga
Without even
2.
meaning to. And Curly's like, "Oh my god!" ah." And then they have to run.
And then he fucking straight over the river like the old mouse, and then he goes and collects some pops.
They have to run old
stroking
Curly
him.
off to the hospital because they're in a ranch in the middle of nowhere in Soledad, and they take him away, and so everyone is gone now. They've taken Curly, all the other like protagonists, they're all gone, and so it's just Lenny on his own with Curly's wife, the honeypot.
Mate,
And
he's gonna have such a
so
dip.
you're like,
Such a
oh,
dip.
something's
That
going to
honeypot's
happen
gonna be
here,
empty.
man.
Empty.
We kind of overlooked a point that was basically he wanted a dog, didn't he? Lenny really wanted a dog. Slim has got a dog who's given birth to a litter, so he's got a load of puppies, and basically he promises one to Lenny. Lenny has the puppy, and then it kind of flashed forward to this point where Lenny's got this poor little puppy, and he just loves them so much, and he's just like, "Oh, I just love you, I just want to," you know, and people are just like, "I just want to cry," and oh, he's dead.
So can I go into this? Because this is the plot
Jump in.
twist, Lenny and the dog. So in chapter 1, one of the first things that you read is that Lenny paws at the water. You see that he's always kind of like looking for mice and shit like that, hunting around, grabbing them, keeping them, not dropping them. He's always following George around, very loyal. But it's like he's humanized. It's made like it's almost like he talks sometimes, but you can tell it's all in George's head eventually. And like the plot twist being that he's a dog, a big dog, and he's always wanted
What kind
his
of
own
dog would he be?
his own puppy litter.
He's like a
But when he
golden
gets the
retriever.
puppy-
Would you say he's a golden retriever?
No, that's too smart. He's more like
That's true.
a
Great Dane?
no, he's like a pug that got fucking massive somehow.
No, but he's got to be a mastiff. He's got to be a mastiff.
He's just a giant pug, right? And
Isn't those mastiffs where they're just fucking hunch and they've
No,
got like
he's-
veins coming out of their fucking neck and
he's a giant pug, but you don't realise that at first. You think he's a human for
Pugs
most of the book,
aren't strong.
and this one is. And then you find but the clues there in the first part, like always
pugs are
hunting
tiny as
animals.
well. Benny's massive.
I was saying he's a giant pug. Are you not listening to my giant?
Sorry, he's a
You're not
giant.
listening
He's
to
a
what
giant pug, guys.
giant means.
He's a giant
He
pug.
paws at the water. What animals paw? Dogs. He fucking follows George around. He basically has very little kind of like language, which is perfect because with him being a dog, he can't actually speak. But in George's mind, you're kind of seeing Lenny through the eyes of George for the whole book, and like it humanizes him. George is like thinks he's a human. Well, he treats him like a human. And when you find out that he's a dog at the end, I cried. Like genuine tears.
Interesting.
Genuine.
So, disregard
tears.
everything Ben just said there. And
so emotional.
So,
oh my god!
So Lenny really wanted a dog. Slim gives him a dog. He gives him a little puppy, and Lenny loves the puppy so much. He's like,
yeah, but then he realises that it's not a pug, and he's like, so
have you ever met a dog owner that's just like, I just love you so much, I crush your face. You know those ones where they're like, oh, come here, I'll eat you. Lenny's got that going round 24/7. He's just like,
I mean, you hang out with furries, so it makes sense.
And he always just. But the thing is with him is that he doesn't know his own strength.
He likes to go around crushing the furries.
And he crushes this poor little puppy, and then he's just sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, why did you have to die? I was just trying to cuddle you."
Strength, isn't it?
Let's bleep that word out. But anyhow, it is that.
Just
to be honest with you,
don't bleep out the strength part, because then people will know from context exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is kind of true what Ben's alluding to there. It's an unfortunate term, but that is probably what Lenny has in abundance.
Oh, sorry, I should use the politically correct term. It's retard strength.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anyhow, he kills his puppy. He's all sad, and then Curly's wife comes along. After Curly's been taken away, he's had his hand crushed into nothingness by powerful Lenny.
This is I think this book might be a little bit of like a fetish thing about hands and getting crushed.
It's not about that.
I think George Orwell, the author...
John Steinbeck is the author.
Whatever, they're all fucking same, these American authors. They all write the same shit.
George Orwell is English.
Whatever. They all write the same shit books anyway. The old writers, we'll call them all American, because anything that was written before...
It's an amazing book, guys.
When did the first Harry Potter come out?
If you haven't, if for some reason you haven't read this book...
Any book before 95, don't read. Just read Harry Potter. Just read all the Harry Potters. And then go and follow J.K. Rowling on Twitter. Like that is the natural order of how to enjoy...
Follow good old J.K. Rowling on Twitter. You'll get all
of the inside details
of Harry Potter. Woman.
You'll learn so much about everything. Like, just go and follow her. It's a fantastic choice. You should do it.
No. Don't.
I don't know why. Like one of the greatest authors, the greatest author of all
Ben,
time.
I'm going to talk for a moment now, if that's okay.
That's kind of horrible. I mean,
so you've had your interpretation of the book, which is good now. I'm just going to
this is really James's podcast that I just have to feature on.
Oh, that's not true. Oh, of course that's not remotely true.
It's basically true.
And so he gets the dog, kills the dog. Curly's wife comes over. Why are you looking so sad? Blah blah blah. And they have like a little moment, and then he's just like, "Oh, can I touch your hair? I like to touch your hair." And then I don't know what he sounds like.
And then George runs over and just fucking pops him with a gun.
Stop it! That's a massive spoiler. No, you ruined the book. So basically, old Curly. Curly's wife, sorry. Curly's at the hospital.
What's Curly's wife called?
I don't think it's even mentioned. Is it actually mentioned? Is the name even mentioned?
She's a woman, so
she's
it's
just
not
called Curly's wife.
Yeah.
But anyway, Curly's wife...
For the time, I mean, women are important now.
Curly's gone. He's had his hand crushed. He's been Jeremy Beadled.
Yep.
And he's had his hand crushed into Beetlejuice. And then...
but he did reform it.
So he's off. Curly's wife.
It's a horror story, really.
Curly's wife is there.
It might have been the Addams Family origin story, actually.
Curly's wife is there. She's like, "Oh, why are you looking so sad?" And he's like, "Because I've killed my puppy because I love him so much." And then, don't look so sad. Don't look so sad. Stroke my hair. Lenny, just stroke my hair.
They can't breathe very well.
Anyway, Lenny starts stroking her hair. He starts stroking her hair, and then she's like, "You're stroking it too hard. You're messing it up. Stop stroking my hair so hard."
The fucking curlers put in.
And then he's just it's a slightly weird part of the book because
he rips the dress off.
No, that's earlier on. That's a different woman. Curly's wife. He's just stroking her hair, and then she starts like panicking. She's like, "You're messing up my hair. Which what she should really be worried about is this insane guy and his massive strength. Where she's just worried about her hair getting a bit messed up, and she's like, "Stop messing up my hair," and he's just like, "Just stop it, stop it."
Lenny's gone from this gentle giant to insane guy.
He is an insane guy.
Just because he's killed a bit of a puppy.
Weirdly, okay, so this is like a nice bit of trivia about the book. Lenny is actually based on a real person who
Lenny Henry
ended up in an insane asylum. because he ended up like pitchforking the foreman of a place where John Steinbeck worked like several times in the chest, murdered him. John Steinbeck witnessed this, which is fucking fucked up. But anyway, like
he told Lenny to do it.
But yeah, so he's stroking Curly's wife's hair. She's like, "Stop messing up my hair."
He gets the pitchfork out and just fucking booms her.
Stop messing up my hair.
No,
and so she struggles because she doesn't want her hair messed up, which is insane.
So he whack-a-moles her, doesn't he?
So he breaks her neck.
Yeah, whack-a-mole.
Just accidentally, just breaks her neck. And she's fucking dead now.
Yeah.
So old it's old
Smash the
Curly's
honey
wife.
pot.
He's dead.
Winnie the Pooh's
She's dead.
Pissed off.
And then basically that's the final act of the book is he murders Curly's wife. They all come back. They see what's happened. George is like, "Oh fuck's sake, Lenny! I told you not to do that. I said don't do that. Don't do a Me Too.
Don't do a Winnie the Pooh."
I was like, Lenny,
I told you not to murder a woman. Which was the Winnie the Pooh origin story.
I specifically said, don't break a woman's neck.
Yeah. I specifically said, don't have an erection.
Yeah. That's essentially it. Yeah. It's like, I said, don't do that. And he did it. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, fuck's sake.
But basically like a toddler. Don't do that. Okay.
Don't do that.
Goes and does it.
Okay, I won't break a neck. And he breaks her neck. And then, so her neck's broken. She's
playful, isn't it?
Fucking dead. And then
you laugh it off, don't you?
You laugh it off.
You laugh like George, like, oh Lenny, and then everyone laughs,
Lenny.
and then it ends, doesn't it?
Like,
I love the end. It's so
George,
happy.
That's
all of them just going, "Oh Lenny," and then they all
Lenny.
laugh, and then the book ends, and then you can stop watching now. It's the end of the book review. Thank you for joining
again, Lenny. Oh, Lenny.
Classic
Lenny. And then
the Benny Hill music was playing when he was murdered.
I'm gonna break your neck. And so he kills Curly's wife. Curly's wife's fucking dead. Yep. And then they come back. They find her dead.
Yeah.
And then
he flings her over the lake.
But at the start of the book, George says, if anything happens, if you go and stroke a woman's hair again and cause a whole fucking hubbubaloo like you keep doing, go and just run to this part of the lake and just hide there. And so that's what Lenny does, because he remembers it, because he repeats it over and over again. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. Then he runs to the part of the lake where he's been told to go to, and he hides there.
Spot.
So his execution spot, exactly. So George knows he's there.
Wow, spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert again, whatever, spoiler alert. It's such an old book, I don't think it even needs spoilers. Like, spoiler alerts, there's no, like, it's just you should have read it by now. If you haven't, this is another spoiler.
If you haven't, you've done yourself a favour. Never read it.
You've done yourself a massive disservice.
He said it's his favourite book.
You've done yourself a massive disservice.
And now he's guilted me into reading the rest of it. I mean, I've read the first chapter, which that was a chore.
You're admitting that now, are you? You're admitting that you haven't read the book?
Look, I said I read the first chapter and it gave me enough to know what was going to go on. And I found out about the plot twist. Lenny was a dog.
Now that Ben knows that it's been quoted in Lost, he's actually going to read the whole thing.
I do love Lost.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Ben in Lost was a fucking little creep.
Poor old fucking Curly's wife is dead. She's brown bread, and Lenny has run off to the secret spot that George has told him about. So George knows he's there, which is handy because everyone else.
Was it Candy?
Because Candy the Handy, and everyone else are kind of running after him now with pitchforks because they're like, he's fucking murdered someone. We know it's him. No one else is strong enough to just break a woman's neck like that. Yep. And so they all chase after him. Curly's like, I'm going to fucking just pump some lead right into his stomach with his fucking shotgun.
Yep.
And then, so that's his plan. He's going to shoot him in the stomach.
But they don't know about the secret lake spot, do they?
They don't know about the secret lake spot, Ben.
What was that film? Where was that secret spot on the lake? Was it The Notebook?
Maybe.
I think this might have been the origin story of The Notebook.
Yeah, probably.
And the Addams Family. And Winnie the Pooh.
And Winnie the Pooh. And The Green Mile.
And Whack-A-Mole.
The Green Mile kind of mirrors this book quite a lot.
Yeah, because Lenny's got those supernatural powers where he can heal everyone. So when he kills her, he then goes, whoa, and he heals her, and then she's a zombie, basically.
And just destroy
everyone
with his voice.
Curly doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I've always wanted to fuck a zombie. It was also, so basically this is the start of World War Z.
Anyhow, let's get back on track, Benjamin.
Tom Cruise?
Let's get back on track, Benjamin.
But that's where it came from.
So, end of the book. They're all running after him, pitchforks,
face.
but only George knows where he is. And George has stolen the Luger. George has stolen the Luger, and he's running to the secret spot where only Lenny knows. Lenny's hiding there. George has got the gun. He runs over. And like basically,
beautiful voice.
He's stolen a Luger.
Was that the musical that he wanted to write?
It's the musical. It was a play, but anyway, George has got the Luger.
Same thing, isn't
this
it?
is another thing. They're like, the guy whose Luger he's stolen is like, my Luger's gone, and then they're all like, oh, fucking Lenny must have stolen it.
Yeah,
Lenny is way too stupid.
So he lost his Lugia cards.
He lost his Lugia card, his gun.
This one's not about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's about Pokemon.
So the Luger's missing, and they all assume that this fucking absolute tank of a man. What did you call him earlier? Paladin.
Well, level 100 Paladin. He's not a tank.
Paladin.
It's not World of Tanks. It's World of Warcraft.
But he's just this behemoth.
I don't know anything about games.
I know nothing about games.
Behemoth is another game actually that came out recently on PlayStation 2, VR2.
Anyhow, this absolute unit of a man has just run away, and they think, he's stolen the Luger. He doesn't need a fucking Luger. He is the Luger. He is the one who knocks.
He's basically Tyson Fury if he didn't have a gob on him, isn't it?
No, Tyson Fury's a fucking...
Yeah, I say it's he's
Tyson Fury gets beaten by
he's 8 foot
people
tall
that weigh the same amount as me.
Yeah, but Usyk is he's basically Jesus, isn't he?
He is. Anyhow, they all think, Lenny's stolen the Luger, so not only have we got this fucking level 100 Paladin, like with,
now he's lost his Lugia card.
Now he's got a Luger.
If you look on
he's unstoppable.
The Pokemon TGC website for the Lugia card, it's one of the, I think it's the second most expensive card you can buy, and it costs thousands. So, if someone stole your Lugia card, you're going to be fucking after it, because you're like, that's thousands of pounds worth of fucking card there. I want that back.
So he's got the Luger. They all think that Lenny's got the Luger. Lenny has not got the Luger. George has got the Luger. George has stolen the Luger secretly, without anyone knowing. He's stolen the Luger, and he's like, I'm just gonna. I think he's probably already got this plan in his head that he's like, look,
he's going to go and give Lenny the Lugia card and go, here you go, mate.
No,
well done.
He's not going to give him the Lugia
well
card.
Done for doing the fuck.
He's going to give him the power of the Lugia card in the back of his head.
Oh, mate, Lugia's got such powers as well. All the elements.
But so basically, it's a kindness, and this is where the euthanasia element
this is where Dignitas
involved.
started out.
This is where Dignitas gets involved because George is like Candy. He's like, I should be the one to put him down. I don't want fucking Curly shooting him in the stomach. Yeah. That's horrendous. I'm going to put him down in a humane way.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot him in the brain
like
instead
the dog
of
that he is, which Ben alluded to earlier, which Ben just lied about earlier.
Alluded to, and then got correct.
Alluded to.
What happened. Alluded to, I like that, but it's not true, but I do like that. It's good. It's good. You should do more stuff like that,
So George is like, I should be the one that puts him down.
Portmanteau.
I should be the one that puts him down. So George goes after him. He knows where to go. He runs after him with the Luger, and then he's like, George, have a look at the lake. Just look at the lake. Go on, and then let's talk about our plan. We're going to get a nice ranch. You're going to have rabbits. And you're going to look after the rabbits, and it's going to be great. And he's getting to recite this plan. And this whole time, he's got this Luger, and he's like got a shaky hand, and he's putting it to the back of his head. And then he's like, just keep saying the plan. Just keep saying the plan. And then, boom, shoots him in the back of the head. Everyone comes along. They're like, oh, mate, you killed him.
Oh, mate.
How'd you do that?
He must have leveled up so much as well. He must have got so much XP from that. Is this your favourite book? Because I know that when you're going out of the gun and you're fed up with it, you take it down to the lake and then you tell it to look out over the lake and do it all romantic, and you just fucking boot her in the back and into the lake, don't you? So that's probably why you like this book so much. Where you got the idea from? I mean,
where I got the idea for Mice and Men.
You've got the foot, haven't you? You can just fucking blast them into the lake. I've seen you've skimmed them like fucking stones over the lake sometimes.
I don't know why he's just casting such horrible aspersions on my character.
I mean,
when Ben has got this term, and what's it called?
Egg sacs.
There's that, the egg sac term. That's
it's what I call spiders, because I hate spiders, because they're just giant egg sacs. This is all going to be edited
out anyway, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so George he's like, I should have been the one to kill him, like Candy with his dog. Handy the Handy, shoots him in the back of the head. Old Lenny's dead. This is quite a sad scene, but he's like, that's just.
And they go, "Oh, George," and then they all laugh, and then that's the actual end of the book at that
Pretty
point.
much what
and
happens
everyone
at the
just
end.
like has a big
Pretty
hug.
much what happens.
And then because they're all men and there's no women about anymore, they all just fucking turn
There are no women about
gay
anymore.
orgy, don't they?
They've killed 100% of the women
Yeah,
on the
they've
ranch.
killed all the women. So now it's
Which
just
is
like
one.
going fucking suck and bum.
But anyway,
I'd
Mice
just
and
like
Men
to
by
suck
John
and bum.
Steinbeck. Read
Yeah.
it. I'm going to get Ben to actually read it after this because it is such a beautiful book.
Under duress.
It's the themes are solitude, like there are the loneliness, companionship, and it's just about this need that we have as human beings.
Oh, right, instead of
for
reading the book
human
on my own, I
interaction
just go
and
out
compassion.
and actually just like talk to people. Then I don't have to worry about any of the shitty themes in the book.
You know what? That's a very valid point.
Thank you. So I won't read the book.
Because reading is actually quite it's a solitary experience, isn't it? Reading.
Yeah, it's
So-
for lonely twats.
It is for lonely twats, and that's why I love it so much. But so I do think that because Ben is actually, even though he doesn't know anything about any of these books that we're talking about, he's a speed reader, so he could probably read this book in about 30 minutes. But he chose not to. So he's just a bit of a fucker, really, isn't he?
I don't think I'm a speed reader anymore, you know.
Really?
I've lost the ability because I've not really been reading that much because I've just been doing fucking work shit.
Well, this
instead.
should be your way back in, your route back in. Read of Mice and Men.
I'm gonna get serious for a sec. So my job, there's a very high cognitive load. So when I finish
I'll
work,
give you a cognitive.
is that where you just fucking give me some cerebral fluids directly out your brain?
My eyes,
Yeah, just
yeah.
squirt it. He's done that before. But before I did this job, I could read quite happily because I had the fucking cognitive ability to do it. I finished work and I'm just like, I don't
Brain.
want to do anything.
Brain now,
mentally.
Ben.
I do physical shit after work, no problem. That's
Yeah.
fine. But mental stuff, I'm like, no, I want to zone out. I want to just do nothing that challenges me.
This shouldn't challenge you.
I know
It's an easy
shouldn't,
read. It's an
but-
easy read, guys.
But no, but it's all like ye olde language.
It's
like
not.
reading
It's
fucking,
not at all.
It's like reading the fucking Bible.
It's really not.
It
It's not. It's not hard language. This is my challenge to you, Ben.
It's, like,
Please
it's
just.
American though as
please
well. And
just
like, you know
read
the way
this.
that Americans are. We've just talked.
It's a beautiful book. It's taught in lots of schools. It does kind of promote euthanasia. I'm not gonna argue with that. It kind of does.
That's a good thing.
But yeah, it's a great book. Beautiful book. Lenny is a very empathetical.
He became a great
character.
comedian. Well, he became a comedian,
Lenny Henry.
sort of.
Yeah,
Well,
from Birmingham, which is where we're from. Also,
He's from the Black Country, isn't he?
he's not from Birmingham. Yeah, you're
He
completely right.
he actually did do a good joke about that, saying because he's got like the Yam Yam accent, and he's like, I'm from the Black Country. When he tells people, they're like, which Black Country? Because obviously he told this joke, and he's like, no.
But he's
I'm
allowed
from
to
the
tell
Black
it, Ben.
Country. Yeah, I know, and I'm just repeating it.
Anyhow.
because I have to date someone from the Black
Tune
Country.
in, guys, because the next book we're going
which
to
is
read
just
is The Shining.
A real shame.
The Shining is the next book we're going to
You're actually
read.
fucking reading it.
We're going to read The Shining,
Mine
which
arrived
is a
somewhere.
fantastic book.
Oh no, it's on Kindle.
Just like so, we're only going to read good books so far, and eventually I'm going to make Ben read a terrible book, and the best terrible book I can think of is A Little Life by
it's not,
Hanya
not by fucking
Yanagihara.
Sally Rooney, is it? Because you made me read
Oh
that
no,
Sally
Normal
Rooney
People
book.
as well.
Oh,
We'll read Normal People.
I've read that book. It's the fucking most boring book
Great
in
book.
history. It's shit.
Great book.
No redeemable qualities about that book.
Anyhow,
It's
guys,
awful.
read of Mice and Men. It's a great book.
I would rather
It's a
read of
beautiful
Mice and Men
book.
than fucking Normal People.
Ben's
is my
actually gonna
lowest
read it.
ever book. You know what? You've reminded me of Normal People, but
Yeah.
I'm writing myself a bit, and now I'm like, you know what? I want to read of Mice
Yes.
and Men because
Okay.
Normal
If we
People
take nothing away
was
from this
so fucking
conversation,
shit.
it's that Ben's going to read of Mice and Men, and it is worth a read. It's a beautiful book, written as a play by John Steinbeck,
just knocked your,
published in
You just knocked your microphone.
published in 1937, and it's beautiful. And please read it.
Yeah, or don't. You know, it's your life, and don't read it. Don't read it. It's your
reading
life. Like he's trying to control mine, and he's having success because he keeps reminding me of Normal People, which is
Okay,
it's a
guys.
shame.
Until next time. So next one, The Shining. See you then.
Yeah, I'm just going to watch the film. Bye, guys.
Hello, James here. I write all of the stories for Resonant Tales,
And I also do the book review podcast with Ben. If you enjoyed that one, please like and subscribe, share the video around, just show us any appreciation you can. It won't go unnoticed.